Another week, another episode of Violet Evergarden, and another episode which I feel completely unqualified to review. Let's jump in, shall we? I say this every single review, but Violet Evergarden is the type of anime series that I never look at. I'm more of the bang bang, super explosion, punch to the face kind of variety guy. I'm often called the jock of anime reviews, as I mostly just like action anime series. But I know something when I see it, and I see a lot of beauty in this series, which is not really too groundbreaking in what it's actually trying to do, but I find that after a long week at work, or a hard day at the office, or just something that you want to relax with, Violet Evergarden is kind of the perfect anime series for that, as it moves at a very slow but methodical pace, and it's also quite gorgeous. I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is one of the most beautiful anime of the season, and that's due in part to the amazing character design, as well as just the backdrops themselves, and this one takes it to an entirely new level. We also get to see some returning characters from some of the previous episodes, so let's just go ahead and jump in. This is going to be a somewhat shorter review, as frankly I am just short on time myself with being busy with life and work and all types of other stuff, so let's just jump right into it. The actual story in this week's episode is that Violet and a ton of the other auto memory dolls have traveled far to this observatory, which is home to this scientist and all of these young transcribers, and they're going to have them pair up with the auto memory dolls so that they can record a lot of books which are going into disrepair. And Violet is teamed up with this man by the name of Leo, or Leon, I'm guessing. I think that's what his real name is, Leon, and the thing that's most interesting about Leon, of course, is that his personality is strikingly similar to that of Violet's. Not in the sense that he's completely expressionless, but in the fact that he simply cannot change his expression, which is mostly filled with a lot of contempt for the world because of his tragic backstory of his father disappearing and his mother going after him, leaving him behind as an orphan, leaving him stuck in this weird world of recording things in books and looking at stars in the sky. Something that might not be for Leon himself. He needs to find the courage to move forward, and of course, it's Violet who actually ends up doing that for him. And there's a number of scenes which illustrate this in a number of fantastic ways, like the fact that a lot of the other fellow transcribers of Leon don't like him very much, and they feel that he should not be paired with Violet, who is just seen as this picturesque, perfect woman, but they don't realize that she is very similar to him in many ways. She indeed is an orphan, she has no parents, and she has trouble with expressing herself. It isn't until a very sweet and beautiful scene at the end of the episode where they observe this comet, Allie's Comet, which only appears every 200 years, so this is sort of a perfect moment for these two characters, and this is also where we finally get to delve a little bit more into the concept of love with Violet, and that's all thanks to Leon. She actually realizes that she does love Gilbert, and she would do absolutely anything for it. Not only does she recognize this, but she expresses it, which is a pretty big moment for the series. This sort of opens up Leon's world, and by the very end of the episode, you can tell that he's kind of head over heels in love for Violet, but simply doesn't know to express it. He has to become stronger and more confident in himself, and like Violet, he's going to do it by going around the world, traveling and experiencing many great things. It's a very cheesy ending, but I really liked it, so what's the rundown on this week's episode of Violet Evergarden? Just simply another beautiful episode with Violet meeting another person with a similar problem and issue, coming about to actually fix it by the end of the episode, which in turn makes Violet a much more reasonable and understanding and less robotic kind of character. It's very by the numbers and formulaic from what we've seen, but honestly, for how good it looks and how well that it's actually, like, developed, I have no problem with it whatsoever. I mean, this is just a really nice looking show to look at. It's hard to get angry at it. Like I said, it's not reinventing the wheel or anything, but still it's very nice, and the character designs are absolutely top notch. I even love that we got to see the return of some of her fellow students from the Auto Memory Academy. We even get to see Laculia return, who doesn't really get to do anything, unfortunately, but the fact that they're recognizing that these characters still exist in this world is actually really nice. There's a lot of big, heavy-handed imagery in this episode, which can be kind of confusing. You need to rewatch it a couple of times to sort of understand the complexities of it a little bit more, especially with the book that they're actually transcribing for the very first time, how it ties into their conversation later on in the episode when they see the comet. It's good stuff, but it's kind of hard to take when it's just moving so fast and you're just enamored by all of the amazing artwork, which, again, is definitely the highlight of this episode. It's just kind of wordy is all. The actual story itself, though, like I said, is very similar to some of the previous episodes that we've seen, and really I'm ready to dive into the deeper story that is Violet Evergarden, especially considering the way the last episode ended with a cliffhanger of seeing Gilbert's brother, which seemed like she was going to have a confrontation, and it never happened. We never got to see anything go from there. We immediately moved on to this next story, which is kind of disappointing. But still, like I said, it's hard to complain about this show when the series itself and the actual themes behind it are so powerful and the imagery is just so beautiful. So, yeah, it wasn't a perfect episode, but it was still just another top-notch quality of episode of Violet Evergarden, which is definitely a show worth checking out if you want something to look at that's really pretty. So, 4 out of 5 from me. Check it out, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the episode. Tell me all of them in the comment section below. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay down now, baby.